Breaking news, Liverpool fans. The first bit of transfer business for this transfer window has concluded for Liverpool, and it's actually a sale and not a purchase. Fabio Carvalho has left Liverpool for an initial £20 million fixed plus add-ons as part of the package. There's some more details here about he still has to undergo a medical test here. Paul Joyce saying Liverpool's Fabio Carvalho to Brentford package is worth $27.5 million inclusive of add-ons. So add-ons would rise to 27.5. There's also a 17.5% sell-on clause that Liverpool has put into this contract, as well as Fulham, who are going to receive 20% of the profit above $5 million. I want to see Fabio Carvalho's transfer value from when we bought him to kind of assess what that profit margin will be for Fulham. But as you can see here, as I was looking at Transfermarkt just now, this is Liverpool's current midfield depth chart. There's other players there that aren't on the list. Tyler Morton, James McConnell, Bobby Clark. But a lot of those players are linked with either transfers away or with loans away. So, question marks all around. Carvalho wasn't in any sort of plans for Liverpool last season under Klopp, even though Fabio Carvalho played really well in that Newcastle game, and I thought he did have something he could provide. It was clearly a bit of a butting of heads between the personalities of Klopp and Fabio Carvalho. He's played well in preseason, and it's clearly commanded a healthy transfer fee, not the biggest, with a sell-on clause, which isn't the worst, but, the midfield right now only really being Szoboszlai, McAllister, Elliott, Gravenberch, Jones, and Endo and Bajcetic. That's 7 players playing across 3 positions. I would like some more reinforcements. Obviously, Liverpool's still linked to Martin Zubimendi of Real Sociedad, but La Real aren't particularly interested in selling him below the release clause. So it's going to have to take the release clause, which, as we have seen with FSG time and time again, it means that, for the most part, FSG are going to be very hesitant. They'll go and make a sale or two. They'll try to balance the books in some way before just kind of biting the bullet and, going out to sign the player. Obviously, Zubimendi, more of a defensive midfielder. Carvalho, more of a attacking mid-winger. Not really even a proper center mid, but very more advanced in terms of the profiled player. Let me just find Fabio Carvalho, honestly, because I want to look at his value chart. Since he joined Liverpool from Fulham and what it's kind of looking like now. Why is this here? I want to X that out. Okay. Here it is. So, view market details. Market value over time. I wonder if there's got to be something for transfers for him, right? Yeah, here we go. Transfer history. So the initial fee for Liverpool was 5.9 million euros. So probably 6 to 7 million pounds at that time. So with an initial fee of, say, 27.5. Initial fee of 20 million. I'm sorry. Initial fixed fee of 20 million pounds. So 15 million. So they're getting 20% of effectively 10 to 9 million. They'll get a couple mil plus maybe a few more should the these add-ons that are inclusive to this 27.5 total package for Fabio Carvalho get activated, which wouldn't shock me if it did. He is a good player, but oh man, it feels a little weird. I'm wearing a Philippe Coutinho jersey from the 16-17 season because it felt right. I felt always that in terms of whether or not Fabio Carvalho was a talented player, he almost certainly was, like from the very first moment I've seen him play for Liverpool. I've always kind of wanted it to work out for him based on the fact that it worked for Coutinho for a while, and obviously it was a different, squad with a different quality of players, different crop of players, and Coutinho was very much like the main orchestrator of it all. And I wasn't expecting Carvalho to rise into that kind of role, but having that type of player off the bench, maybe fighting for a first team spot, I thought would be good for the healthy kind of general competition of the forward line and the attack. And Liverpool always, historically are a club who favor a, attacking style more so than the defensive one. So it just kind of felt like it was implied that he'd be here probably at least just this year to get like a feel. Obviously preseason, if Slot deemed him not really worthy of continuing with the club and he felt like the value was there for him to be moved as well, and like he agreed with the higher ups within Liverpool being obviously Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, then what can I really say about that? I can't really say much, but at the same time I am a little gutted in the fact that it doesn't feel like Fabio Carvalho was really given a chance at Liverpool. It's nice, this 17.5% sell-on clause here will be solid, because if Brentford ever does sell him to, I don't know, I'm just gonna say AC Milan or somebody for 60 million, we're getting some good money there. That'll be a deal that will then take that 27.5 million, that will net probably 22, 23 of that based on this 20% sell-on clause, maybe less. But then based on our sell-on clause, if he gets sold for 50 plus mil, that is effectively a deal that has materialized to like 35, 45 million for Fabio Carvalho, maybe more, across this initial sale to Brentford plus the sell-on sale. I'm not saying he even does get sold. I'm not saying he gets sold for that much, but there's a player in there for sure. And I'm kind of sad because it's annoying to see FSG continuously implement this sell to buy model and act like they don't. Like, it's a joke that they act like actively are like, oh no, like we don't have to sell the buy. But meanwhile, like in reality, they are selling the buy. And it feels like a lot of it comes down to obviously just a general lack of planning across the last couple of seasons, which, boils over, and hopefully moving forward, stuff gets resolved in the more, economic and logical sense for Liverpool, because it doesn't make sense to sell Carvalho to go, who isn't necessarily, like, Carvalho isn't here, in terms of, how do you want to say, he's not here taking up a registration slot. He's obviously not going to be the first name on the team sheet. So maybe if he wanted to move, like, hey, who are we to stop him? But it does feel like he was ready to fight for his spot at Liverpool, given how he was playing in the preseason. Now, I don't know. I just feel like this is a transfer that we could look back at in a couple years, 3-4 years time, like 2026 to 2028, once Carvalho is reaching his kind of prime as a player, and we could be like, I wish we gave him at least one more season at Liverpool. Who knows how he would have, what kind of leap he would have made if he did make a, bigger leap at, say, Brentford, or if he kind of had a way better performance at Liverpool. Like, regardless, it does sting a bit, because as much as I want Zubimendi, as much as I want Liverpool to go out and buy players in the market, why are we buying players in the market for such expensive fees who have these release clauses, who are talented, really talented? Szoboszlai and Zubimendi, I rate them immensely, but I also am kind of concerned with this. Like, Carvalho had 3 years on his contract still. Like, going into next season, he'd have 2. You could sell him next season for probably the same amount of money that you sold him this year, maybe more, depending on how he kicks on. He's still like a very young player, so it feels premature to sell him. It feels kind of like I feel like something's got to be going on behind the scenes, and maybe it isn't even linked to the Zubimendi deal, but Liverpool have to get something done in terms of arrivals. And as of right now, there hasn't been a whole lot of anything. So I'm kind of flustered on that front, and also flustered that the heir to Philippe Coutinho's mantle at Liverpool is effectively gone, at least the presumed heir. But, you know, what do you guys think? I'm curious. I'm not really too happy with the sale if it means that it's just going to be Zubimendi and maybe another player. Like, if we're going to be selling players this window, we should bring in 3 to 4, not just 2. And I'm getting the vibe right now that Liverpool is looking to bring in Zubimendi and maybe a defender or a winger and call it quits for the window. And maybe that is enough, but there's strength in numbers, and losing someone who we effectively didn't have to lose, unless there is something I am missing. Maybe there is like some behind the scenes drama that unfolded and it was like, hey man, you're just not going to work out here. And if that was the case, it's better that he does leave. But at the same time, I rate him tremendously as a player. I think he's going to kill it at Brentford. And yeah, for lack of a better term, it's just kind of like a bittersweet sort of sale, because I thought that this season he could potentially provide like an added layer of complexity to our midfield. You know, we have Elliott, who's similar in play style to someone like Fabio Carvalho, a bit different obviously, but similar stature, similar dribbling, and obviously they're both really good friends. But not that that has anything to do with how they play, but in the sense that, you know, Elliott is really the only attacking midfield option besides maybe Szoboszlai and I guess McAllister to some extent, that like we're gonna be playing with some sort of attacking mid. Now, who's gonna fill that role? Is it Gakpo? Is it Elliott? Where does everyone fit? Questions remain to be seen. I'm gonna end up probably watching both preseason games tomorrow live on stream. That's Sevilla at like 7:30 Eastern time, and then at noon Eastern time there's Las Palmas, both at Anfield, a doubleheader of friendlies. I imagine that this is going to also be used similar to this U.S. preseason to assess some more players who have come in. And honestly, I feel like somebody else is going to get sold before we bring someone in, based on just how the whole vibe of the club. I want to know what you guys think about the sale, what you think about Liverpool not bringing anyone in yet, what you think about how this whole transfer window is unfolding for Liverpool, and what do you want to happen next? Because I don't know if I want us to go out, finish the signing of Zubimendi, or, you know, obviously that's a priority, but beyond that, like, what should Liverpool do in the market if they are going to, say, sell Fabio Carvalho, bring in Martin Zubimendi? What should be their next step? Because for me, I'm honestly I don't know where they're going to go next beyond that, and it's a little concerning. So thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.